YouTube? It's Quan here, and I'm back with another video. And I just wanted to cover a few topics. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft news in general. Others may have reported it already, but I'm going to give my take, my opinions. It's one thing to read the news, it's another thing to, give what you think about it, And at the end of the day, my opinion may help you out. May not matter a hell of beans. It's on you. So, with no further ado, let's get on with the show. First things first, I would like to say goodbye to someone. He was a member of the IGN staff and executive editor at IGN, Richard George. And I mean, this guy, he kind of got Nintendo. He wasn't a fanboy like some would have you believe, but he really got what Nintendo was going for. And me, I'm concerned about something. With the reviews that I've seen lately of stuff like Platinum Games' effort, the Wonderful 101, because some people do not like hard games. I can expect, with Richard George leaving, seeing a whole slew of 7.5s and below on Nintendo products regardless of quality. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I have to be that guy. I don't care what anybody says. It's not an issue of damage control. See, because here's the thing. Okay? The cool thing about having a review site when you have a diverse group of individuals is the possibility of seeing a balanced and well-rounded view where you get different points of perspective when it comes to one product. But when you got people that tend to like only one genre or one gameplay style or one level of difficulty reviewing games that quite honestly don't appeal to them, and their level of objectivity goes out the window, expect low scores. That is factual, no matter how you chalk it up. Okay? Because odds are, if you look at the low scores for Wonderful 101, first thing they say is frustrating controls. Look at the controls. You look at the high score for 101, they say, oh, they were difficult, but worth the challenge. Oh well, whatever. Anywho, all that aside, further in Nintendo news, which is a little minor thing, Nintendo is getting an interesting indie platformer / puzzler game by the name of Knit Underground, which was based on Knit, okay, and that was brought out as freeware, ages back. But Knit Underground was brought out on PlayStation 3 and Vita. But it seems that the Wii U version is going to be having a few enhancements, actually quite a few. Now, the thing is, why this is something I find so interesting is, and also looking at the developer of doing the same thing, enhancing graphics, improving on the physics somewhat, the lighting effects, taking full advantage of the gamepad, putting full voice support through the gamepad, and adding DLC for free and all that. The reason I bring this up is because it's interesting that these third-party developers are putting such a very strong effort into their games when you get larger studios stripping features like Warner Brothers has done with Batman, Arkham, or Origins, and then you got Ubisoft, and the list goes on, stripping features and coming up with the most ridiculous of excuses for why they do it, when it's really just a matter of they just don't think that the fan base is worth it because the install base is low. Well, here's the thing. If you're going to strip features from a game, okay, expect it to sell like crap and stop complaining. If any of you do that and you complain, I'm going to call BS on you. If you don't give 100% parity, okay, as far as the actual gameplay and options, if you pull a Sniper Elite version 2 and expect to sell, it ain't gonna happen. Anyway, moving right along. Now, in other news, let's talk about Sony. Seems Sony has done an interesting move, which should make a lot of people happy. Seems that the PlayStation Vita is now $199.99, and that the 32 gigabyte memory card is now $79. I still think that's a bit high, by the way. Come on, Sony, you can do better. I say $69.99, knock $10 off at the very least, because come on, that is a bit high. Or do something to get basically like tweak your manufacturing cost to get it lower if you're worried about taking a loss. I know there's something you can do. Come on, you're a big electronics company. You do more than video games. Okay? Anyhow. But the fact that they lowered the price is one thing, but if they're not careful, they're going to find themselves, still in the same rut. I mean, look at Nintendo. A lot of people, a lot of different stores have lowered the price of the Wii U and it didn't sell. And it wasn't because of the price. That's not the issue. Iwata even said it, and a lot of people may not think that he's, someone to go to about stuff like this, and they give him a lot of crap. But the bottom line is this. He is right about one thing. You can lower the price, but if there's not a sufficient and diverse amount of software, a lot of people are just not going to play unless they're fans of Nintendo and have the patience to wait for new software. Don't mind my dog in the background. He's fussing. He's a Shih Tzu Pekingese mix. And he's acting a fool back there if you can hear him. Jasper, calm down. Anywho, getting back to, the meat and bones here. The big deal that I want to talk about now is an opinion piece. And it's my opinion on one company that I hardly ever really mention. I tend to mention in passing. And in my first video, I even said it, that I don't buy their stuff because I have PC. Well, you know what? I, today, would like to extend an olive branch to this company. But in exchange, I want something. Now, your fans, not your fanboys, not your propaganda cheerleaders, your fans are more than welcome to send me a video response that is done in a decent way to give me adequate reasons to do this. Why would I buy an Xbox One? Other than what I'm about to say. If you can give me another significant reason, those of you that are familiar with my videos and my comments would know what to recommend to me in a constructive way. Okay? I will tell you myself personally what I think would be good. I would like to see Microsoft revive some franchises that they haven't touched in a long time. Okay, since Relic was purchased by, by Sega after, THQ was dissolved, why not make a partnership with Sega, and Relic and revive Impossible Creatures? Give us an RTS that has a lot of customization. For those of you who don't know, Impossible Creatures was basically a RTS that dealt with a guy named Rex Chance, who basically was looking for his father. He had something known as Sigma technology that he dealt with because his dad invented a way to take genes from different animals, splice them together to come up with these different creatures. And that played a strong part in your strategy. In RTS, you would tag different animals, take their genetic code, and come up with these different types of units based on this. Resource management wasn't that big of a, big. It wasn't too, ridiculous. It's a very decent RTS, very fun, very campy, a very silly sense of humor. Almost self-deprecating because it made fun of itself a lot. Pardon me. Pardon. Asthma's been acting up lately. Anyhow, my apologies. The thing is, when it comes to things like, games like that, Microsoft needs to come up with more than just the dude bro things. I mean, I want RTSs. I want RPGs. And not just regular RPGs that are Western. I want JRPGs. I want things like visual novels. In Japan, they had Steins Gate. Brilliant visual novel. And many know that I'm a fan of that manga and anime. And if anybody is familiar with Steins Gate, be it the dubbed or sub version, you got a general idea what the plot's about, and it is amazing. I'll put it this way: Steins Gate is what Lost on ABC should have been. It's a no-brainer. Okay. Another thing, Microsoft, you have access to a little-known, a little-known company. I mean, oh, it's a non-important studio. Nobody cares about it. Rare. Fine. Most of the big wigs that made Rare left. The Stamper Brothers and Chris, the voice of Conquer, Mr. Sever, and all that. I mean, seriously, you got a lot of IPs under the umbrella of Rare, and you're making them do what? Connect games that are like cash? Okay, let's be honest here. You could put out strategy right now, a strategy game by the name of Blast Corps. Time to get moving. Awesome game. You can use a new physics engine for it, whatever that you have, or you could use a third-party one, middleware. Hey, I'm sure you got PhysX by now as well. I'm sure that, Sony's not the only one using PhysX. Hell, use the Havoc engine. Has a lower footprint anyway. Something. It'd be an awesome game. I'm sure everybody who's played Blast Corps will tell you that was a very fun and very interesting game. It was a unique take on, on puzzle elements and vehicles. You had all sorts of missions inside there, all with a cheesy storyline, yes, but I mean, it was a lot of fun. And okay, there's another game that'd be interesting. I mean, why not revive Jet Force Gemini? That could be your Mega Man, quote unquote. Even though that the closest thing they got in common with Mega Man is the fact that there's a cyborg guy, cyborg girl, cyborg dog. But still, it was an awesome game, and it should have been a series. That's something to consider. Banjo-Kazooie obviously is great, as long as you don't go the nuts and bolts route. Okay, wow. Just stick to what worked. The platforming was awesome in 1 and 2. You already put it on Xbox Live, I bet. Like I said, I'm a stranger to the Xbox, so if anybody can tell me whether or not they got it on there, let me know. But rather than play the old games, I would rather see a new one, and not nuts and bolts, for the love of God, no. Cameo! I was up in one guy, an Xbox fan's comment section, and they were talking about bring back Cameo. Another brilliant game that was originally slated to be for the GameCube and was brought over to you guys. I mean, come on now. Seriously. That's another one. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Don't even get me started to what you did to that game. The level of censorship and the misplacement of beeps totally ruined the experience from what I've seen for a lot of people. I mean, watching the Let's Plays and then seeing you guys screw up some of the funniest one-liners on there with a misplaced beep. And then, I mean, come on now. The designs that they originally had for Conker, you could have just cleaned them up a bit, up the polygon count, but you kind of overdid the fur and all this other stuff. I mean, those are nitpicks, but still, I mean, come on. The main thing for me was the humor that you guys kind of ruined a bit. Come on, that game was classic. Who did just kill themselves laughing the first time they heard the Great Mighty Pooh belt out? A song that sounded like he could have been doing an aria or whatever. It was hilarious. Come on, man, a gigantic turd singing while throwing tissue at you in chunks of turds. You know what I'm saying? That's just, after playing Jaws with a bunch of pieces of corn. Come on, that's just, wow. Yeah, sure, the humor's sophomoric, but that's the whole point, man. Shoot, it was sophomoric before Saints Row was sophomoric. But it did it, in a way that it was hilarious. Sure, it offended a lot of people. Come on now. Conker's Bad Fur Day was pretty, but still, it was an awesome game. Revive that. And I'm sure there's a whole slew of other franchises you can bring. I know you got a free to play Age of Empires. Why don't you bring us a full on one? I can go on. You got too many games that I can name. So instead of me naming them for you, why don't you look through your back catalog and start bringing them out? Take advantage of them. It'll pull in old fans because of this nostalgia factor. But at the same time, you can enhance the gameplay for the new fans as well. Well, I'm about done. I'm going to wrap it up. This video's gone way too long as it is. So, comment on anything that I said today as you see fit. Like, dislike, subscribe or don't. It's your choice. And remember, all these things are my opinion. It's just what I feel. Feel free to have your opinion as well. And share them with me. So, until the next time, YouTube, as always, whatever's clever, and Kwan's out.